All right. So that was Joe Bravo with Gilberto Perez Sr. At Stubbs in 2019, and that was just a magical moment, right?
It really was, and the sad thing about it, both of them have passed since then.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, I can't say it enough when I tell people this is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime, a duet.
Yeah.
That can only be seen with us, and that's what I think makes our festival special, is that because they're at the age where they're not touring as much,
right.
So they're not going to run into each other, and the music scene has changed so much that there's not a lot of venues for this music, so
or media,
or media, right?
Right.
So when we say that, we mean it. This will probably be the last time or the only time you'll see these two together, and that was proof right there. Sadly enough, I wish they were still here. It was just the pictures of them interacting, the video of them interacting. It was just amazing to watch.
Yeah.
And back when they were doing shows, everyone would run into each other, and just to hear their old war stories.
Yes, they all have a lot of stories about promoters, but that's part of the history
that's
too,
part
right?
of the history. That's right. I mean,
so
it's like I say. I don't care if it's gospel, I don't care if it's blues, I don't care if it's folk, I don't care if it's conjunto, whatever it is, it's all rock and roll.
Right.
Because the same things happen. You will get a woman that's just enamored with a Joe Bravo or Gilberto Perez Sr., and they go to their car and their tires are slashed or their windshield's broken. It's just the name of the game.
Or their husband is just mad dogging on the stage. But those are some of the stories that we collect when we do our interviews,
That's
right?
We get the nitty-gritty.
This is another project that we do, and that you can help support with your gift through Amplify Austin.
Yes.
So
and you can listen to them anytime you want.
Yeah, we have a podcast.
That's right.
We also we started doing these back in 2011, and so you were sick.
Yes.
And you envisioned this while you were in bed recovering from 6 strokes at one time.
Truth be known, I thought I was going to die because I wasn't eating right, I was drinking too much, just everything that anything that's good that you like is bad for you.
Right.
And I just overindulged. But it was a wake-up call, and I was like, I never got to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to throw a festival. I wanted to get interviews. I wanted to do all this stuff. But the everyday daily grind, as everyone knows, you got to pay the bills, and you kind of push that back thinking you have time. It wasn't until legendary Ruben Vela passed away that I was like, I don't have time. These guys are...
Yeah, and that was the year before, so that was kind of already rolling around in your head, right?
Yes, it was in my mind on how I need to get this going. But
then you decided.
When something like that slams the brakes on you, you're like, okay, even though I don't feel good right now, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it.
Yeah. 1
week could turn into 2, then it's 5 years, and then it's over, right? So I was like, no, it's got to start this week. So
right.
I started getting contacts, calling people and getting interviews. And
the first thing that we did is we got a little Zoom H4n recorder and 2 mics, which we still have to this day. And you can help us buy a new one by donating to Amplify Austin. We are Rancho Alegre. You can look up Rancho Alegre Conjunto Festival on Amplify Austin website, and our goal for this entire campaign is $10,000. Now, mind you, we think that is doable because last year, you guys helped us raise $20,000.
Yes, came through for us.
And you came through big time. You saved our bacon and you saved our festival because our festival was in danger of being canceled. So moments like you just saw. We almost had to cancel last year, but Amplify saved us, and it was such a compelling story that I Give Here also included us in their impact report last year. So we love this organization. We love this day of giving. We love philanthropy, and it sustains us and it keeps us going, and it helps us continue our programming like this. So our interviews. Those were actually what started the festival because we drove around Texas and we started interviewing these people. They welcomed us into their homes, and
I always would ask the same question: will you do a show for me in Austin?
Right.
If I form something, they're like, well, I don't think no one will remember me, but if it was with a bunch of other bands, of course I'll come and play. If you get something together. And that's where it grew. So
Yeah.
the second time around I was in the hospital, it was for another reason, just being in bad health at the time. I was like, you know what? I've got all these verbal commitments. Let's make it happen. So I started calling them.
Right.
And because of hospital bills, I mean, I think I even had a negative balance, but I told everybody, we're going to charge $10 to the door. If you want a shot at Austin, you want to play in Austin, and we'll split the door with everybody.
Yeah.
So we're just idiots like that to ask such a thing.
We had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah, we had no idea what we were getting into.
And somehow we had 24 bands or 18 bands that wanted to come along this stupid journey with us. And they have stuck with us ever since. And we had quite a few friends that are still on that are still on the bill. And a major shout out to Julian Fernandez, Los Texas Wranglers. We were so inexperienced and so green at producing live music events that we didn't know how to get sound.
Yes.
So Julian stepped up and he donated it. So that was our first year. And we are going into our 9th annual. We've had to take a couple of hiatuses for a couple of reasons, COVID including, and so. But we are back on it, and we will be back at the Doris Miller Auditorium, April 5th through the 7th. Free admission, all ages welcome.
That's
right.
That's right.
Please donate to help us keep these events free, and keep our programming. So interviews. Back to that. Our first interview was in 2011 with Jesse and Beto Duran.
That's right. Who have both passed away.
Who have both passed away as well. Fun story about that. Very quickly. He had just gotten out of surgery half an hour before, so he was still like kind of groggy from the anesthesia. But Jesse and Beto were like, "Hey man, we're ready to do an interview."
The problem was getting the two brothers, because one of them lives in Austin, and his family still lives in Austin, East Austin, and the other one lives like towards
San Marcos.
San Marcos, yeah. So getting them together, because I want to do the interview together.
Yeah.
And they call me right after surgery as I'm groggy and stuff, and they're like, "We can come right now to your house." And I'm like, "Come on." And Piper looked at me like, "You're crazy."
He still had his hospital socks on. I was looking at the pictures the other day of that. But so that was our first interview, and we recorded it and we put it on our website, and it was like a proto podcast, right? So it was audio only, and it was like that for a long time. We launched an official podcast anywhere you get your podcast now. We launched that last year at the beginning of 2023. And so we're migrating our interviews over to that platform. So you can listen to our interviews with all these legends. And some of them is like either their last interview, or they had never had a full-length interview. Or it was never recorded. One that I want to mention in particular is Nick Villarreal. Try looking for an interview of Nick anywhere, and you can probably only find one other than ours, and it's very, very brief, and he's talking about Lermas and San Antonio. But we have a long-form, intimate interview with the man himself. So let's take a look at a few of our other interviews. We've got, you'll recognize the first guy. And then the second guy, it's an older video, so the quality's not so great, but the audio is good. So we're going to hear from, I'll let it be a surprise.
Full disclosure, we took it as we could. If we were not prepared with video, whatever, we seized the moment.
Yeah.
Because time is of the essence.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the interviews.
Okay, amigos, here we are once again, this time with the person that I like to call the Texas King of the Squeeze Box, Mr. Flaco Jimenez. Flaco, muchas gracias. Thank you for being here for this interview.
Thanks for this invitation.
Yes, sir.
And gracias por todo, and a big hello to everybody out there. And I wish them all the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. We really appreciate you and all the work you've done and continue to do. And let's get right to it. We all know you as Flaco Jimenez. I want to know, did you ever record as Leonardo Jimenez?
Yes, I did. I think it was around the 1950s. I think it was 1952, around that time, and I had a band. It was a 3-piece band, and acoustic band. I mean, as far as a bajo sexto and slap bass, a bass guitar, bass tololoche we call it.
Yes.
Okay, so in fact, my first compadre or compañero that was in my band was Henry Zimmerle, that he's been recording. Oh man, he's got a lot of recordings.
Oh yes,
many
he does.
hits. And there's another guy, Joe Ponce, which he was on the upright bass. So then my dad, Santiago Senior, decided to name us Leonardo Jimenez y sus caporales.
Oh, okay.
Caporales, you know, like caporal cowboys or whatever. Yeah. So but at that time I didn't record under Leonardo Jimenez. I think in the late mid 50s, which was the first record that I recorded under Leonardo Jimenez, but it was just a couple of recordings on 78s.
Got you.
Yeah, but then my dad was the one that suggested to use his nickname, because he in 1930s, when he was recording, he was called El Flaco on Decca Records.
Don Santiago Jimenez.
Oh, ese era el papá del Flaco. Tocó mucho con mi papá Santiago Jiménez. Hizo muchos discos aquí en el pueblo y con compañías muy grandes, pero fue uno de los fundadores del acordeón. ¿Ya?
Snowball de la Cruz.
También estos eran los fabulosos 4, Snowball de la Cruz, y anduvo con aquellos muchachos que estaban con Bego, Armando Hinojosa, y todos ellos. Todavía miraba uno de ellos hace poco cuando venía con Paulino. ¿Ya?
Ángel Flores.
Oh, los alacranes. A él lo vi de Ángel Flores, fue también muchos éxitos en Corpus, y hace como 3 años vino y me saludó, y ya estaba un poco enfermo y por eso no pudo agarrar el acordeón, porque dijo no puedo muy bien.
¿Qué consejos tienes tú para un grupo que apenas va comenzando, que va a querer su vivir o jalar en la música? ¿Qué consejo le puedes dar?
Pues el primer consejo que les puedo dar, y yo como negociante de bailes, de salón de baile, es que trabajen con la gente, que trabajen con los promotores, porque si van a querer venir conmigo a cobrarme $1,000 y no van a arrimar $50, pues ¿cómo les vas a pagar $1,000 y no van a meterte $1,000 a la puerta? ¿Me entiendes?
Seguro.
Eso es para comenzar, van a tener que ponerse en la posición que están. Y, o sea, si están arriba está bueno, si están abajo, hey, let's take it from the bottom.
Seguro.
Porque nada se hace de arriba para abajo, todo se hace de abajo para arriba.
Exacto.
¿Entiendes? Y ese es el primer consejo, que trabajen duro. Y como les digo, destínganse en que sea por idiota. Y es cierto. Es muy cierto eso.
Y que agarren chances, ¿verdad?
Sí, y agarren chances.
Atrás del miedo está el dinero.
Así es. Yo, gracias a Dios, me ha ido muy bien en mi negocio.
Seguro.
Muy bien que estamos nosotros.